Back again with another YouTube video. It's your boy RG. Today we're gonna react to 10 amazing WWE feuds that were blown off on free TV. Let's get right into the video. Ads on this? Come on, man. Lag. Come on. I know y'all saw that lag. Come on, man.
Heels of a major wrestling show is seeing big matches featuring big stars in big storylines. Premium live events, or pay-per-views for our geriatric viewers, are sold on the idea that feuds that have been built for weeks and weeks on television will reach their climactic conclusion. Well, that's the idea anyway. But sometimes a major plotline in WWE won't reach its climax behind a paywall. The company will sometimes throw amazing WWE feuds that were blown off on free TV. Join us. Number 10, Damien Sandow versus The Miz. If you don't think that a feud featuring these two was amazing, then you clearly don't remember it. Back when The Miz was deep into his A-lister gimmick, he hired himself a stunt double. Enter Damien Sandow, who was quickly rebranded Damien Mizdow. Again, this does sound rubbish, but they did make it work. Sandow had been stuttering for ages, and this run reminded everyone of just how fun he could be. He and The Miz made magic together ahead of WrestleMania 31. This is where Mizdow finally turned on his employer by throwing him out of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal as the crowd went wild. The scene was set for a blow-off match on pay-per-view, but WWE didn't really see things that way. After trading wins on Raw, the former allies faced off on the April 20th, 2015 episode in a match for the rights to the Miz name. But despite being more popular than Christmas, Mizdow was betrayed by Summer Rae and lost. The now unemployed stunt double quickly plummeted down the card and was eventually released in 2016. The Mizdow storyline could have been a box office hit, but instead,
They actually could have pushed Damien Sandow, now that I think about it.
it was a massive flop. Number 9, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. Edge had every right to be mad at Daniel Bryan in 2021. Even though the Rated R superstar had won that year's Royal Rumble, the American Dragon managed to weasel his way into his planned match against Roman Reigns. Bryan had faced off against the Tribal Chief for his Universal Championship at 2 back-to-back pay-per-views, Elimination Chamber and Fastlane, before officially booking his spot at WrestleMania 37. The three legends squared off in the event's closing match, and it was superb. Reigns retained with the old stack 'em and pack 'em technique, aka pinning both opponents at once. It looked cool, sure, but it did make Edge and Bryan look a little bit naff. 19 days later, on the April 30th edition of SmackDown, Bryan had one last shot at the gold. He faced Reigns in a title versus career match that wouldn't have looked out of place on any Big Four pay-per-view. In a stellar match on a random episode of weekly TV in front of zero
This was during the pandemic era.
fans, this was still the COVID era, lest we forget, Daniel Bryan's WWE career came to an end. At the time of recording, he hasn't wrestled for the company since. Number 8, The Shield versus the Wyatt family. Wrestling factions are a bit like buses. You wait your whole life for one before multiple turn up at once. Also, you wouldn't really want either of them to run you over. In 2014, WWE had 2 red-hot 3-man teams on their hands. Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan of the Wyatt family, and Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns of The Shield. At Elimination Chamber, the groups went head-to-head for the very first time. It was an epic battle, one that showed a glimpse into the future of the company's main event scene. Fans were ecstatic at the prospect of seeing these 6 warriors brawl again at the upcoming WrestleMania 30.
They didn't have much matches together, like as a feud.
But instead, the Shield trounced 3 old blokes, while Wyatt was made to look a tit by John Cena. The trios did have a further 3 matches over the next few months. One of them was weirdly on Main Event. Remember Main Event? Yeah, weird. Their final 3-on-3 match was on the May 5th edition of Raw. By the end of 2014, both groups would no longer exist. Sadly, through a combination of people leaving WWE and 2 tragedies, we will never see this match again. Number 7, Shawn Michaels versus Marty Jannetty. While everybody knows about the breakup of the Rockers, their subsequent feud doesn't get discussed nearly enough. After Marty Jannetty tried to escape...
We're gonna skip this one. I know that, I've seen one Rockers match, WrestleMania 6 against Oriental Express. Oriental Express won that match. Oriental Express manager threw some sand, I think, in Marty Jannetty's face.
93, but for many reasons. Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. Rey Mysterio has had many great rivals across his career. Psychosis, CM Punk, his own knees, the top shelf, but it's hard to argue that his best foe wasn't Eddie Guerrero. Both men come from esteemed wrestling dynasties, cut their teeth in Mexico, and made a name for themselves in ECW and WCW before both ending up in WWE in the early 2000s. By 2005, Guerrero had grown jealous of his friend and threatened to expose a dark secret about the Mysterio family. The secret was that Rey's son Dominic was actually Eddie's father. Wait, that's not right. This led to the all-time great SummerSlam ladder match for the custody of Dominic Mysterio. It wasn't great because it was flawless, but rather because it was one of the most ridiculous concepts in WWE history. And it was also botchy as hell. The Masked Man won the match and his son's love once and for all, lol, but Eddie wasn't done. The Lucha Legends had their last match on the September 9th SmackDown inside a steel cage. The match, which Eddie won, took place just over 1 month before the former WWE champion's tragic death. Number 5.
You want to know a key part of my training?
No. Why are we getting hit with an ad?
CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy. While Raw was obsessed with shoving John Cena and Randy Orton down our throats in 2009, SmackDown was offering something much more interesting. CM Punk and Jeff Hardy made perfect rivals. One was a straight-edge arsehole who lauded his cleanliness over everybody, and the other was a beloved hero with a history of substance abuse issues. The feud got very real at points, which only fueled the excellent
They had a good rivalry, though.
ring action further. They faced each other 5 times for the World Heavyweight Championship throughout the year, culminating in a mad TLC match at SummerSlam. Well, it certainly felt like a culmination. In fact, the two superstars clashed for the last time on SmackDown that same week. This was a steel cage match with Punk's title on the line. There was also the added wrinkle that if Hardy lost, he would have to leave WWE. This was another excellent encounter, but sadly for our face-painted friend, he couldn't get the job done. Hardy legitimately left the company off the back of this defeat, not to return for almost 8 years. The Punk-Hardy feud could have easily ended at SummerSlam, but this high-stakes cage was just the icing on the cake. Number 4, Edge versus Matt Hardy. In case you need reminding, Matt Hardy and Edge entered a real-life blood feud when
Their rivalry was real.
latter began an affair with the former's then-girlfriend Lita. Initially, Matt was fired from WWE for going public about the scandal. However, once he was brought back, there was absolutely no stopping him. This real-life tension was incorporated into an on-screen storyline, which began with a disappointing no contest at SummerSlam 2005. The two TLC innovators would go on to have much better matches on TV and then inside a steel cage at Unforgiven before putting their rivalry to bed on the October 3rd edition of Raw. The winner of this ladder match would receive Edge's Money in the Bank briefcase, while the loser would be forced to leave Raw. What is it with the Hardy brothers and loser leaves matches? They just can't help themselves. Once again, the boy from North Carolina lost and was banished to the desolate wasteland known as SmackDown. Edge versus Matt Hardy was such a hot feud and absolutely deserved a pay-per-view finale. Unfortunately, WWE just didn't view Hardy as a big star, so he was never going to get his moment in the sun. Number 3, Johnny Gargano.
Alright, we're gonna end this here. That was 10 amazing WWE feuds that were blown off on free TV. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment. And yeah, you're right out.